And this is Dr. Anastasia Chopelas, and today I'm going to talk about 5 ways that you use energy healing in your everyday life and you don't even know it, and you're doing it with other people too. So the first thing I want to talk about is things that you should not be doing. So one thing that happens with us that are real nurturers, helpers, healers, is that we don't want other people to feel badly. So the first thing that we tend to do is sympathize with somebody. Now, the problem with that is that you're not helping anybody by sympathizing. When you sympathize, somebody comes to you with a sob story and then you feel bad for them and you go, oh, that's too bad. The sympathizing will draw your energy down and meet them at their level. The thing that we want to do is raise them up rather than letting us go down. So what happens is that you're giving up your own light and your own energy to help them feel better. And that is something that is really not the way to help people. And I used to do this. I know how that feels. And I used to have an abundance of energy, more energy than I knew what to do with. And I had to go running for an hour every morning just to dissipate some of it so I could settle down and sit down quietly, right? But now as I'm older and I have a limited supply, I can keep regenerating it, but I have to be really careful with it. And sympathizing is not something that I tend to do anymore. The next is empathizing. In other words, reaching into their emotions and feeling them. While it's a really good probing technique where you can jump in and you can feel what's going on, but you need to pull out right away instead of staying in it and trying to get their emotions to come up. So that's number 2. And the number 3 thing you shouldn't be doing is saying yes too often. A lot of us don't check in with ourselves to see if that is serving us to our best and highest good. Of course, when it's a child or another family member, it's really hard to say no, but sometimes you need to say no so they can learn how to stand on their own 2 feet rather than keeping on you being hooked into their issues, especially if they're in their 30s like both of my children are. Right? When they're young, it's required of us to really take care of them. So now I'm going to slip into the 5 things or the 5 ways that you are probably energy healing without even realizing it. So the first thing is feeding yourself and other people high vibration food. And what do I mean by high vibration food? So high vibration food is what we used to get all the time. Things that are grown with compost rather than chemical fertilizer. Things that, like, animals were not treated with antibiotics and given the wrong food. For example, cows should not be fed grain. They should be fed grass. Grass is, of course, a lower calorie food than grain. So they want to fatten them up really quick. So just think about this. Grains are fed to cows, like corn especially, are fed to cows to fatten them up. So those are things that we should not be eating, right? And so before antibiotics and growth hormones and the inhumane treatment of animals being pushed into pens and so on and overcrowded, so now they have all of these fear emotions, all of these chemicals running through their bodies, and then afterwards their flesh is also treated. And the same goes with fruits and vegetables. When they're treated with chemical fertilizer, it's the equivalent of us eating only white sugar and white flour. What happens when we only eat white sugar and white flour? We don't get any nutrients, we get sick often, and so do plants. And then you need pesticides to keep the bugs off instead of their natural resilience to growing without the bugs attacking them. So those are the high vibration foods, are the ones that are now called grown organically. That's what we used to get all the time, but now they're grown organically. They're labeled organic. Chickens and things, if you're eating chicken, is out in, wide free range chicken and things like that. The high vibration food, what it does when you eat something, especially if it's fresh, it's got life force energy, and that life force energy, when you eat it, goes into your body, and it is then taken in, and you actually feel a lot better. I remember I used to eat a fresh salad every night after a long day of working in the lab, and I immediately perked up, and it was just low-calorie vegetables, and I'm going, oh, gee, why is that? And then later I discovered it's that life force energy that you're taking in your body. Now, if you're eating foods with pesticides or grown chemically, you are taking those in your body, and they register as death energy. Even after you try to wash them off, they register as death energy, and you are taking that in because the plant has already been imbued with that death energy, and it's best not to eat it. So there's a third component to it, is how do you prepare that food? Do you look at the food and say, this is going to nourish my precious body? It is going to make me feel a lot better. It is going to make your family feel a lot better. You are sitting down to eating a dinner all together, not rush, rush, rush. So when you make these foods, like when I made this big batch of chili last week with just vegetables and grass-fed beef, and when I made it, I was thinking of, wow, this is going to be really delicious and really nourishing, and I really thoroughly enjoyed eating it, and it was all high vibe food, right? So that's the number one way that you may not realize that you are energy healing, because we're taking that life force energy into the body. It is getting into us. So the second thing you may not realize that's very healing is walking around without shoes on. And do you think I have shoes on at the moment? No, I walk around my house and sometimes out in the garden without shoes on, and that helps ground you. Two of the best places to walk barefooted are out on grass, especially if the sun is shining, or if you're at a beach, go to the beach and even dip your bare feet in like the salt water or the lake water, wherever you are. That is extremely healing. And if you do it with intention, and, of course, taking your kids and your family and doing it all together, you're also helping heal them without giving out your energy, right? So, and them walking around in the sand or the grass and playing out in the garden, that is a really helpful way to help grounded. And when you do yours with intention, imagine the sunlight coming in through the top of your head and dripping slowly into your body like oozing golden honey, dripping all the way through your body and pushing out all of that low energy stuff and getting you grounded to the earth. The earth is very nurturing all the way down to its center. It's a very nurturing energy here, and it really will take up and transform and transmute all that poopy energy that you're releasing into the earth. So now the third way of energy healing that you don't realize is exercising, but it's not your normal, let's just go out and jog or play tennis or something. Some exercises are really helpful for stimulating all the 12 meridians in your body. And one of them is yoga, for example. Certain kinds of yoga will allow you to stimulate everything, especially if you do twisting or turning your head like this and nodding up and down and rolling your shoulders back and forward and then twisting at the waist and moving your hips in circles and then doing some dips and knee bends or the warrior pose, which is arm forward and back, and doing basically a lunge on one leg with your arms and back and then stretching out and down. All of these will stimulate all of the meridians, and it will get your lymph flowing. So the lymph system does not function unless you are moving. It does not have a pumping system like the circulatory system, or even the nervous system, which is a series of electrical impulses running up and down your body. It does not have its own system. It depends on movement, and doing that movement is very soothing, and getting that lymph and your meridian stimulated will really help with any kind of healing, because it starts the flow up, starts the flow happening in your body. And having gone outside and grounded yourself and so on, that helps you interact with your environment in a really positive way, right? So that was number 3 on the chart. And number 4 on the chart is laughing, especially if you're laughing together. So there's a little healing exercise called the Laughing Buddha. And what it is you can see, sometimes you can even look up Laughing Buddha online, and you'll see a little Buddha, and he'll have his hands over his head with his palms facing upward like that. And then you see him tipping backwards, right? So you can make sure you're pointing it either at a bowl of salt water or out the window, because you don't want the poopy energy in your house, and you just start laughing. So let's try it. And when you do that, it's really funny, and it releases all that stuff that's stuck inside and creates that flow. So just laughing even at a comedy. So Robin Cousins wrote this famous book in the 70s, how he talked about how he healed a very serious disease by watching Laurel and Hardy movies and laughing at everything and finding the humor and stuff. And that is one of the things that got me through some of my most serious illnesses, is that I made light of my situation rather than taking it really seriously. And some people tell me that they didn't realize that I, as a scientist and or a healer, could be that funny. And some people would even say I was the funniest people they knew. Although you wouldn't know it, because you'd think from watching all my videos that some of it's like really heavy stuff. But in actuality, I see fun in things. And even when I was in college, I would read my physics textbook and start laughing when something was a non sequitur, and people go, how could you laugh reading a physics book? Well, you can, because there is humor in virtually everything. And my family of origin, we would sit at the table and tell jokes every night. You'd come home with a new joke, and my dad still tells the same old jokes. And he'll tell the same 50 jokes, and he goes, did I tell you the one about the dentist? I go, yeah, Dad, you told me that one. Oh, and I said, you want to tell it again? He goes, yes. And so then he tells it again. So it's always fun to have this kind of like this laughter and this lightness in your life, because it raises your frequency. We know that happy people have a higher frequency by measuring that bioelectric field around you. The happier you are, the healthier you are, the higher that energy field. And the last, tip number 5 that you do all the time and you don't even know how it raises your frequency, and that is cleansing yourself, whether it's showering or bathing or, diving into the ocean or something like that. Whenever you get in water, it helps cleanse the poopy energy right off your body, because a lot of it is hanging around. And my hot tip for improving that shower or bath is putting salt, sea salt, and you can even use Epsom salts. The Epsom salts has extra magnesium that will soak into you and help relax your muscles. But the sea salt is especially cleansing. And you say, well, what if I take a shower? What if I don't have a bathtub? What if I need to take a shower? Well, I take a handful of my sea salt. I travel with it everywhere. I just came back from a conference, and you put some sea salt in, and when you get in the shower, you drip a little water in it, make a paste, and start at the top and work all the way down to your body. And that sea salt on your skin, you don't need to rub it and rub it raw, but that sea salt on your skin will really help remove the accumulated energy that you've had during the day, and then you can just soap and wash off afterwards after you've cleaned the salt down. So those are my 5 tips about 5 ways that you heal with energy without even realizing it. These are all very powerful energy healing techniques. And in the link, if when you're ready to talk to me about learning more of these or getting help from me with anything, you see my links there to make an appointment with me or to write me a note. Also, you can look and see about my certification program. I'm opening up enrollment next month to bring in a few new people. We've been going now for 4 months, and every unit is designed to be 4 months long, and that way we can invite new people to come in, and the people that are in it are enjoying it tremendously and doing things they never thought they could possibly do, and also creating new business with it. So not only are they in the program, but they're earning while they're learning, right? So I look forward to having a conversation about this, and I look forward to hearing from you when you're ready to be speaking to me. And if you like this video, hit the like button below or give it a 5-star rating. Share it with your friends, and be sure to subscribe to my channel to see these and more tips. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.